In the mob's history, New York's organized crime families used the construction industry as a revenue money-making machine by controlling it through the contracts, bid rigging, labor, inflating costs, and using threats of violence to enforce compliance. The mob wielded power from concrete, drywall, labor unions, trucking, which permitted them to implement a mob tax and skim profits, as well as launder their money. They even controlled the material supply chain. In fact, at one time, if the mob wanted construction in New York City to come to a halt, it simply could be done. When Rudolph Giuliani was the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, he stated, extortion in the construction industry has driven up building costs by about 20%, and the mob's ruling council ran the entire concrete construction industry in New York City. Giuliani was referring to the infamous Concrete Club ran by 4 of the 5 families during the late 70s and 80s, where kickbacks from contractors were split among the families. The Gambino family in particular has a deep-rooted history with construction, one where they exploited various facets of the industry to extract protection payments. General contractors and subcontractors all paid a mob tax in exchange to peacefully and efficiently do their work. The mob corrupted union officials by securing no-show jobs and diverting union benefits such as welfare, pensions, and healthcare funds, which deprived union members of their benefits and went into the mob's pockets. The Gambinos excelled at bid rigging by manipulating the bidding process so that a company of choice was awarded the contract. Often, this was accomplished by dictating what competitors would bid by using threats of violence. We've recently seen a few gambling busts. However, construction is arguably the mob's top moneymaker. Gambino captain Andrew Campos, along with Bronx and Westchester-based members and associates of the Gambino family, were involved in a racketeering case that used bribes, fraud, and extortion to infiltrate the construction industry, earning millions of dollars in the process. Campos used the carpentry company CWC Contracting Corp., where the principal owner was his wife. The company operated out of an office building in Scarsdale, New York. And from June 2018 till June of 2019, CWC paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes and kickbacks to multiple employees of a real estate development company. CWC also procured OSHA cards for workers, but the OSHA courses themselves had never been attended or completed. As a person with a construction safety background, there's a lot of that going on in the construction industry. CWC also defrauded the IRS by not paying around $1.3 million in payroll taxes. The workers on paper were supposed to be on construction projects, when in fact, they actually worked on a house belonging to Campos, as well as houses of his friends and family. Those workers were also paid at times entirely in cash and not by checks. Meanwhile, CWC's legitimate clients were being overbilled for inflated work orders or change orders. In January 2021, Campos pled guilty in the Eastern District of New York and admitted to wire fraud, money laundering, and tax evasion. In court, he allegedly acknowledged that he conspired with others to conduct and participate directly and indirectly in the conduct of the affairs of the Gambino organized crime family through a pattern of racketeering activity. I have to say, I highly doubt that he mentioned the words Gambino organized crime family, but he did admit to those certain crimes nonetheless. He was sentenced on February 10th of 2022 to 37 months with $1 million restitution. According to the government and their informants and sources, Richie Martino, a Gambino member, following his release from major fraud convictions, a $700 million fraud scheme to which he received around 8 years, and was released in or about 2014, he entered the construction business with Campos, whose crew he was in, and together they controlled and were silent partners, as well as backers, of several construction-related businesses. Martino had interest in CWC as well. Years ago, I was taken to meet Richie at a restaurant in the Bronx. I wanted him to look over some blueprints and plans for a development project. He was extremely knowledgeable and pointed out that the sewer system needed to service about 100 homes would cost somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million, which had nothing to do with the cost of building the homes. Martino pled guilty to wire fraud and related charges tied to the case with Campos. I'm not sure of the sentence he was given, but he was released in December 2022, so it had to be around 24 months or less. Richie's an extremely intelligent guy and a very nice guy that complements his smarts. I honestly only wish him the best in life. He was one of the people I considered a gentleman. On January 18, 2023, Gambino captain Frankie Camusso was indicted in a massive construction industry kickback scheme. Hundreds of thousands of dollars were paid to companies owned by Camusso and his family members. The construction being done was multiple high-rise projects taking place in New York. Camusso and his family members owned 3 companies: Gem Consulting Group, HMFL Management, and MJV Inc., all who received collectively over $750,000 in kickbacks, all funneled by subcontractors as well as change orders. Camusso and his associates targeted non-union companies, essentially subcontractors, who were performing work on large high-rise projects in Manhattan. And as of September of this year, the case is still ongoing, and nothing in the records hint at any guilty pleas by Camusso, who faces serious charges of enterprise corruption, money laundering, bid rigging, and falsifying business records, charges that can carry well over 25 years if convicted. I've met Frankie and spoken with him on a few occasions, someone else I consider a gentleman and who I also wish the best. Hopefully, he comes out a winner with his legal headaches. If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the super thanks icon down below or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. Campos, Martino, and Camusso, aside from construction, all share another common denominator. They're all serious earners and well respected among the members of that life. Any one of them could have been successful, legitimate businessmen. Granted, their connections helped with the success that they experienced, but they all possess great business minds, and nobody can take that away from them.